we're very lucky to have the African and Caribbean Women's Association organizing this event this afternoon. The association started in 1988 as a family-friendly group where African and Caribbean women living in Scotland could come together. This is to celebrate shared cultural heritage, as well as just create a support space and a place for friendship and fun and activities, somewhere where folks come together and give other women some support. So this particular event, we are celebrating the launch of the second volume of New Roots, Old Shoots, which is this beautiful publication with inspiring stories of women's experiences in Scotland and beautiful photographs, family photographs, portraits, so memories and experiences. And I will put the link if you want to purchase this. If you've not already, I will make sure that goes in the chat as well. But to start off and introduce this lovely volume is Mary, who's the chairperson for ACWA, and will give you some excerpts and some highlights from this beautiful book. So I will pass it over at this point to Mary.
As you have heard, this event is a book launch celebrating the publication of the second volume of our book, New Shoots, Old Roots. And here, Jennifer has already mentioned that, so I'm not going to go through, and also has shown you the book. The book started out as part of our 25th anniversary celebration and a tribute to our member, Edith Mehus. The project was a collaboration between ACWA and Street Level Photo Works in Glasgow. In the first stage, 8 women spanning 5 decades of being in Scotland between 1950 to 1990. Our book expanded from 8 participants to including the experiences of a further 12 women. Some of our members are in their 80s and 90s, so we are especially grateful to have their contribution before their stories are lost. And as we know, people before us were here, but because nothing was written down, we cannot trace their stories. So this is a significant achievement for ACWA. The following excerpts are taken. I'm not going to go through the first part. I will say the second part because people have to know this. The book is a community book. Members whose stories are told in the book are all authors of their own stories. This is a magnificent achievement for ACWA. So here, the first 9 members, that their story appears from 1 to the 9th person. I'm going to just read a little bit about them. And unfortunately, because we don't have time, as we all know, I'm not going to be able to include everyone, mine included. You will not see anything about me in there. So please don't be offended if you are not one of them. So the first one is Caroline Shaw-Silver. Caroline arrived in Scotland in 1958 at the age of 22 from Nigeria. She went into nursing, then moved to poultry husbandry and worked in a couple of farms. She then went back to nursing and worked at the Beeston. She was passionate and committed to nursing till she retired some years ago. Cecil Iselda Ewan. Cecil Iselda arrived in Glasgow in 1960 from Jamaica. She was there from the inception of ACWA as a founding member in 1988. After completing nursing training, she went on to train as a midwife. She spent all her entire career working for the NHS and retired in 1994. Claire Robertson. Claire was born in 1962 in Aberdeen, Scotland. Her cultural background is a right old mess, as Claire herself describes it. She worked as a graphic designer and photographer while working in the communities around Birmingham. She became an enabler and as a community development worker. Claire, at the age of 57, said, "I want to leave a legacy that really matters." Caroline Njai. Caroline came to Glasgow in 1965 from Gambia. Some part of her history, gives account of her early days experience in Glasgow, i.e. the weather, as we all know, when you first come to Glasgow. She went into nursing and then into midwifery and worked for the NHS till she retired some years ago. Caroline had made an impactful contribution to Scottish society. Margaret Addo. Margaret came to Scotland in 1966 from Ghana and arrived first in Edinburgh, where she did her nursing training and went on to train as a midwife. She worked for the NHS for many years. Margaret also gave an account of the disparities that exist during her training and as a midwife. Edith Merus, our book project, as I said earlier, was inspired by her. Edith came to Scotland in 1970 from Sierra Leone. She worked as a nurse and a health visitor in Glasgow from 1973 to 2010. She was one of ACWA's original members and a loving, caring woman of great substance. Harriet Campbell. Harriet arrived in UK in August 1970. She completed her nursing training in 1973 in Bath, Somerset, and moved to Glasgow in the same year. Harriet worked as a nurse for the NHS throughout her career, founding member of ACWA. Recently received an honorary degree, Doctor of Science, for her outstanding community engagement over 30 years for supporting Afro-Caribbean women in Scotland. Mukami Macron. Mukami came to Scotland in 1973 from Kenya. She also, in part of her story, gives an account of her early days in Scotland. Mukami has worked tirelessly at higher level to promote issues affecting African women in Scotland through KWISA, that is Kenyan Women in Scotland Association. Through her work in the communities, she received MBE for her impactful contribution to society. Meg D. Amesi. She trained as a nurse in Ghana and went to work in USA. Meg arrived in Scotland in 1996. She is a founding member of ACWA and worked hard to promote the association. She then went on to train as a midwife and worked for the NHS till she retired. Sorry, I need a wee drink. Here, due to time constraint, as I said earlier, it is not possible to name all our members who great stories are told in ACWA book, such as our previous chair, Patricia Iridia, who is now our second matron. Please buy ACWA book, New Shoot, Old Shoot, and read all about the enchanting, compelling, and at times poignant stories. Please take a picture of the next slide if you want to make sure you have the purchasing link. And also, Jennifer mentioned that she will leave it in the chat box, so you can also copy that. Also, you can contact any ACWA member and they will direct you to purchase directly from Harriet Campbell, Patricia Iridia, and Jamila Hassan. That is the slide. If you like, you can take a picture of it. We'll give you a couple of seconds. If it's on your phone, then you will not forget to order it. I hope so. Okay. While we are here, it is also important to introduce to you my own book. Here, For the Love of Teaching, the Anti-Racist Battlefield in Education. This book has done wonders because when it was first published, it was published in last year, and the book launch was in November, actually 21st of November 2020. And within 2 weeks or so, EIS featured it in the Scottish Educational Journal. And also 8 days after that, on the 18th of December 2020, the European Trade Union Committee for Education also featured it in their inclusion for teachers campaign. And since then, the rest is history. So please buy a copy and read for yourself. Anybody, you don't have to be a teacher to read it. Anybody can read it and take a bit that suits them from the book. Thank you kindly for your attention and listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. That was wonderful. So I've put links in the chat for both of those books. So if you want to go check those out, if you don't already have them, please do. Does anybody have any quick questions? Mary, would you be happy to answer if anybody has any?
Yes, if it's around the book, or I mean, I will try my best.
put you in a hot spot. So if anybody wants to either pop a question in the chat, or if you actually just want to ask it, feel free to unmute right now, and we've got a few minutes. Well, I think you're getting off easy. No one's going to ask you anything difficult, Mary.
Maybe we've covered everything. That's why.
I think silence is golden.
Yeah, we covered everything. That's why. And ACWA, we are forever admitting members. So tell your friends, your family to join ACWA. It's a great association, and we are doing wonders, as you can see. And what I would say is, it's good for ACWA to write this book. And as I said earlier, in the Western world, we are here whether we want it or not. We are here to stay. We've got our children here, and some of us do have grandchildren. We are here to stay. And if we don't tell our story will be lost. I believe that there were people before us and did great job, whether it was in the National Health Service or whatever. We have doctors, we have nurses, we have some teachers, we all around, but we don't get to hear our stories because it was not written down before ACWA. So I think ACWA, this is a magnificent, as I said earlier, achievement for ACWA, because I'm sure that other organizations, I know that I've seen one of the Asian communities, their book, but for Afro-Caribbean women, this is the first one I have seen in Scotland. Maybe there is something somewhere close to this. I don't know, I have not read it. I can only talk about what I know. So this is a huge achievement for ACWA to do this. And it will be there for generations to come to see it and be proud of every member in ACWA, whether you are part of the story or not. So with this, I will end here. I will hold my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much.